You know, one of those times, right, when you haven't caught up with a really good mate of yours for like ages, right? I don't know when you may have found yourself in that position. Well, that's where Jensen and I find ourselves right this very second. So get involved.
Welcome back to the SpewnedIt Podcast. Editing Jensen here. Just want to let you guys know that this episode actually was recorded about a year ago, and so any references to events actually happened last summer, and especially any references to my at-the-time girlfriend referred to my now lovely wife, B. Thank you so much, and enjoy the episode. And welcome back to the SpewnedIt Podcast. It feels good to say that after what has been a hefty delay, hasn't it?
Yeah. Far too long. Way too long, and there's been loads of stuff going on. But you know what? Like you said, we're back. It's good to be able to say that. But what often happens with this kind of thing is that I feel like I've missed out, gents. I feel like I'm like I don't even know you anymore. What happened to my Need for Speed Carbon Racing bro from back in the day?
Oh, the good old days. The good old
Obviously,
days.
that's way dramatic, but
Yeah.
that's a nice thing. We get to be able to come here, share stories, and quite a bit has happened in our lives, gents, since we last spoke. So I want to kick it over to you first. I want an update. I want a highlight. Give me something.
Well, I don't know if I could call it a highlight, but it is a good story. I love that you brought up Need for Speed Carbon. That's one of our core identities, and one of the cool cars that we played around with a little bit in that game was the classic Ford Mustang, and I believe it was even probably about an 05 or 06 or something whenever that game came out, which is what I was driving as my very first car that I ever bought for myself, and that I ever owned, actually, was a black Ford Mustang 2-door coupe.
Legendary.
Beautiful set of wheels, had hefty set of miles on it as well, but it was great, and it was fun to drive, and you got to ride around it a little bit. I will say I'm not hearing you.
Yeah.
Okay, there you are there. And this story pertains to that Mustang. So as you know, and maybe the audience doesn't actually, it's been that long since we recorded, but I ceased driving that car as my daily driver a number of months ago. It's actually been over a year now. But when this story took place, It was probably slightly under a year since I got a new car. And I say new, but it was also like an 04, but new to me as an SUV, Mitsubishi Endeavor. Great car, reliable, all-wheel drive, good stuff, but not the sport appeal, of the Mustang. So, unfortunately...
definitely not the sport appeal.
Yeah. And unfortunately, I didn't really have a great exit strategy for the Mustang. So where it's been is sitting in the parking lot or parked on the street by my apartment, which is convenient for me that it can be there because street parking is free and there's not like a time limit or anything. At one point, I did actually have to move the car because they realized that I had left it like parked in their parking lot for several months. And they're like, you can't store cars here. You gotta. So anyway, I moved it to the street. It was fine. And then, one other important piece to the story. So the car, the reason why I was I had a very high priority to get a different car to drive because I do love the Mustang, is that it has been notoriously unreliable for me. And on multiple occasions, it will just cease to work and it'll cut my engine dead. And it's happened to me many times, like on the freeway, and I just have to like pull over and like put my hazards on and then turn the car off and basically do like a hard reset, wait, try to turn it back on again. Thankfully, it has always restarted. And I never knew exactly what the problem was. Basically, when I took it to the mechanic, when I was having these issues to begin with, he suggested a couple things. One was to get a new battery, which I did. One was to clean the valves, which I also did. But it didn't really fix the issue. And because the car had over 200,000 miles, basically he said, drive it until it drops, and you'll get as much life as you get out of it. And then it's not worth repairing because it's an old car and the engine is pretty shot. So I was like, all right. So in the back of my mind, I've got, the car is on its last legs. So I was in a rush to get a new car. And even like the week that I got the new car, the Mustang died on me, like on the way home from work, like twice. So I was like, this is incredible timing. Wow. This car is falling to pieces. So Anyway, with that in mind, I've been driving this new car. So most of the year I've had this new car. It's been great. It's been getting me around. The Mustang has just been sitting. The battery has died, and I replaced it with a new battery. So that was before it ceased working. But the last time I started the Mustang up, it worked, and I was able to like drive it and move it onto the street. One thing I haven't done is renew the tabs on the car. So since I'm not driving it anymore, it's not insured because it's just sitting on the street, and it also doesn't have like a up-to-date license plate. So the license plate has lapsed by probably 6 months or something because there was a little bit of overlap with my old car, but it's very much not like street legal because it's not my driver. I don't use it anymore, and I don't know. I have a hard time getting rid of it. So one fateful day, I am walking out to my car to go to work, and this SUV that I drive, the back right tire is completely flat, just absolutely shot dead. Like the rims are on the ground at this point, and I'm like, what the heck? Because I literally had pumped up all the tires like 2 days prior because they were like a little bit flat, but like nowhere near like a rapid leak and I had even driven it like that morning. Like I had gone out, got something, came back, and it's like 7 a.m. and I'm about to go to work and my tire's just completely flat. I'm like, all right, I have no idea like what to do. So I'm like, all right, I can't drive this. I do not have time to even like change the spare. I need to get to work on the road right now. So I decide, all right, it's not that long of a drive. I'll take the Mustang to work. It'll be fine. I just need to drive super carefully so I do not get pulled over, because if I do, there's like a number of reasons why I'll get in trouble. So this is not a great plan, but it's the only one I've got at the moment. So I fire up the Mustang. It's working. I'm feeling a little good. I'm like, man, that feels good to be back in the sporty car. And I get to work. Fine. No problems. Work day. I'm subbing at a high school. Uneventful. I literally don't even remember what happened at work that day. Fine. After work, I'm going to go pick up my girlfriend from her work, which is probably a 15-minute drive away, and then we're going to go hang out. I'm like, cool. I haven't driven her around in the Mustang before. This is pretty sweet. So I'm driving it. I'm on the freeway. Things are going well. I'm like 4 minutes away from where my girlfriend's hanging out, waiting for me to pick her up. And I hear like a clunk, no. And I'm like, oh, this is not good. And luckily, I'm like at my exit. So I'm pulling off. I've heard a clunk. I've noticed a dip in my power in the car. Like the RPM's like dropped, and I'm like, oh boy. All right. So I'm exiting. It's still driving. I'm still getting power. Like I didn't like lose a what are those things called? The belts. I didn't break a belt or anything, which I have before, so I know what that feels like. And I come to the intersection, right? I'm trying to, what am I doing? I'm trying to turn left, and then there's like a bookstore that I'm gonna meet my girlfriend at. And I'm at the intersection. I'm like willing this light to turn green so that I can get in a parking lot because I do not feel good.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
it's one of those things where the light's like yellow and the car in front of me like isn't aggressive, and if he was, I could have made the light, but he wasn't. And he like stops, and I'm like, come on, dude. So I'm sitting at this light, and my car's like just it sounds like it is dying. And
not liking it.
And it does. It dies. It goes while the light is still red. I'm like, oh man. But I've been here before. It has always started up for me in the past. So I'm like, oh, this is so annoying. In the back of my mind, something's broken. I heard a thunk. But I'm like, I believe that this car can get me to that parking lot because I do not want to be stuck in literally in the middle of a street at a 4-way intersection, stoplights. It's busy. It's like 3 p.m. There's cars, whizzing by. They're all honking at me. They finally figure out that I'm broken down because I got my hazards on. I'm just like sitting there like, oh my gosh, this is the worst. Trying to turn it on. Nothing's happening. I'm barely even getting like the engine's like not catching at all. Like the power works because the battery's new, but like nothing beyond that. There's nothing. So finally, this guy who's like walking by is like, "Hey man, do you need help like pushing this into a parking lot?" And I'm like, "Yes, please." So he just like helps me push it, and then somebody else who was like driving by like gets out and helps me push it into the parking lot.
Oh, legend.
So I'm like, "All right, thank you so much," because he's like huffing and puffing. But we get it in there. So then I'm sitting in this parking lot, like trying to fix it, trying to do any, I've got the hood up, and I'm pretty sure there's like nothing I can do. Luckily for me, there is literally across the street a garage to fix cars, and I'm like, this is so great. I can get it over there. Maybe they can help me push it. It's like a 5-lane street or whatever, but it's literally across the street, like, I don't know, 500 feet away. So it's super duper within reach. And the car is, it's a 2-door car. It's not like the heaviest thing in the world to push. So that's the idea. So I go over there to the garage, and I walk in there, and I'm like, hey, I've got my car. It's like right over there. I think it's died. I'd love to get it over here. He's like, great. Yeah, we can make that happen. But we can't help you push it because it's not on the property. So you'll need to get it towed over here. And I'm like, because I really don't want to pay for a tow truck because it's literally 500 feet. I don't know how much that would cost. And I think this is the last, in my head, my AAA has expired, which you have like, if you're on AAA, you have like towing, they'll come and tow your car because you're subscribed or whatever. Right. And as I find out later, unfortunately, that was the last day of my AAA, so I could have called them, but I thought it had already expired. I didn't think to look at my little member tag or whatever. So that was my mistake. Anyway, I'm a little dejected because I'm like, it's just right there. Like, I really don't want to call for a tow. All right, so my girlfriend has an idea. She's going to ask the person in the grocery store, like a random stranger, to help us push it over there. And so somebody comes out. She walks up to him. Hey, can you help me and my boyfriend push this car? It's like garage right across the street. The dude's like down. He's like, yeah, I got to be somewhere in like 20 minutes, but yeah, I got some time. So walks over to his car, puts his groceries away, comes back with a high-vis vest on, and he's just like down to help us push it.
Love a high-vis vest. Yeah, love it.
Yeah. So we're walking over there, get to the car. He's like, have you tried this? Have you tried that? I'm like, yeah, fine. So I'm in the car. We push it across the street. Cars are being super nice as we're going along, waiting for us, everything. But I'm like self-conscious because I'm sitting in my car, which is broken down, like steering because the power steering's broken, or else I would have had my girlfriend B sit in there and do it for me, like as far as steering goes and not pushing, because it should be the easier job, but you kind of need a bit of muscle because the power steering's not on because the engine's not running.
Yeah.
So anyway, I feel terrible. They're huffing and puffing behind me. It's like a slight incline. Again, it's not very long, but it is a car, so it's like 4,000 pounds you got to push in neutral. Anyway, I finally say like, hey, do you want to like switch? The dude's like, yep, I need a break. And so he hops in. No shade to him at all. It was like a bit of a warm day. He had no prep for this whatsoever. A real champ. So we're pushing it. Some other car pulls up behind and is like, the dude just hops out and helps us push it up the hill. Total stranger. Didn't even like say a word. He's like, you guys need help? Like, yes, please. He helps us push it in.
Wow.
So that whole ordeal, Legend. Get it up the hill, pull it into the garage. I walk in there again. The dude's like, oh, hey, I see you got your car in. I'm like, yes, we did. We like asked random strangers to help, and he helped us, even though the people at the automobile shop wouldn't. So whatever, leave the car with him. Fine. Fast forward a couple days later, I've had a whole saga with trying to get my tire fixed, which is an entire another story. I won't get into it this second, but get the call from the automobile workshop where I left the Mustang. Bad news. It's shot. They ran all their tests. The guy's like, he feels bad for me. He's like, the car looks great. The engine is just, needs work. So here's like what we can do is you can either just take it back and try to fix it or whatever, or we can like replace the entire engine, have it lifted, do a bunch of work. We'd have to like get a whole engine like shipped in. It'd probably be about like $5,000. I'm like,
oh my god,
like gut punch, because that's literally more than I paid for the car in the first place. It's not worth it. It doesn't make any sense.
No way.
The body has 215,000 miles at this point. It's the car's done, and I'm devastated. But I'm like, I kind of knew this would happen at some point. It's been dying on me for a while. I just hope that I could like figure something out. So that is basically the tale of how the Mustang died. Unfortunately, I've still got it parked on the side of the road. It has current tabs on it for the moment. I totally forgot the other part of the story. Oh my gosh. Long story short, because the tabs expired while it was parked on the street, it got towed, and they like didn't tell me.
No.
They like mailed me something, so I didn't even know where it went. I just like got home one day, and I'm like, my car's not there. So I had to like look at, it's like midnight after like getting home late from something, and I'm like looking online, like calling the sheriff, like trying to figure out like where my car could have gone. And I finally like see the towing place in the area, and I call them, and they're like, "Yeah, we got your car." I'm like, "Dude, fantastic."
Phew.
I was able to drive it out of there.
Huge.
That day it did work, thank goodness. But yeah, so that was like a whole extra amount of money I had to pay to get it out, dude. Getting your car out of an impound lot is expensive. It was such a bummer too. Oh man. So then it broke.
I think
like,
that's
a couple
only ever
months
something
later.
I'd have to do in like GTA.
Yep.
So like I wouldn't even, I have no idea.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even have an idea where to begin.
Yeah. So anyway, the Mustang is dead. I need to get rid of it.
Oh,
I don't know what to do. It's an empty husk now. But man,
yeah.
had a good run.
R.I.P.
Yeah.
Look, a lot of memories, a lot of good memories in the Stang. Yeah, I was talking about that with my granddad the other day. Actually, he was like, he like one thing he'd love to do is to be able to drive a Mustang. So I was like, okay, well maybe, I don't know, maybe like me and like some of his other grandkids, maybe we can sort something, like get like a, I don't know, like rent one for a day and then like drive to him and like say, flipping, get in the car, give it a drive. Oh, that would be so good. Yeah, look, it's funny that you should mention like end of car eras, gents, because like my little Seat Ibiza, the red one with tinted windows at the back, with tinted wing mirrors, it even had black wheels. Oh, what a car! That has, I mean, that's gone. It's had its day. It's a perfectly working car, but it is no longer. It's no longer my baby, which is hard to take. I don't know if I ever told you this, but the car, it was called Kendall. You know, like just such a good time, and I did love that car. I've now got a cheeky Ford Fiesta, which is equally as nice. It's a diesel, so it's a bit better for like the longer journeys that I'm doing. But yeah, it's definitely not. Like when I got it, like there was a lot going on at the time where I just kind of needed a car. So I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna go with this. It'll be fine. I was looking at loads of stuff. I was looking to get him like a Beamer saloon car. I was even looking at a Jag for a bit because I just thought a Jag. Like I was like, look, you can't go wrong. Like that'll be so good. But never came to fruition. What I have done with the little Fiesta is gotten like a few little tiny mods. I don't know how much you did this with the Stang or how much you've actually done this with the Mitsubishi at the start. But like I got some stupid little things. Like I got the wind deflectors for the windows. Have you seen those? And then I also got I got like a fin for the top of the car that makes it look like a DAB radio. So look, I've got little things like that. I've also got like a front little strip for the front windscreen that's like tinted. Nice. So I'm just waiting to see how much it costs to tint the other windows, and then I'll get that on as well. But it got to the extent I even set up like an Amazon wish list that I called Fiesta with like 7 A's at the end.
There you go.
And there's like loads of stuff on there. There's custom wing mirrors, which are like 30 quid. Which are like so stupid, but they're quite cool. Like they're the ones that instead of like a full light, they kind of like, I don't even know, but I don't even know how to describe it. But it like the light moves over, so it's like a fade type thing.
Okay,
I'll have to show you like a photo or something at one point. I haven't bought those yet, but I'm seriously thinking about it. But then every time I'll have like a moment where I'm like, I need to get this done, and then after that I do just leave it. But look, I think we're both growing in our cars now. Like things are changing. Maybe the appeal. This new one I've got is much less racer boy-esque, and I feel like you've gone through a pretty similar journey to that with your transition of cars as well. But hey, look, maybe, hopefully, it's something that we will get back into because, like you said, I had the opportunities to have you drive me around a couple of times in the Mustang, and when you picked me up from the airport that first time, wow. That was so sick. I could not quite believe it. That was a class time. But look, funnily enough, our lives are actually more than about cars, right? Which is a shame, but there is other stuff going on. So, like, give me another update, okay? We're working through a few things now. What is something else that's happened?
Something else. Oh man. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
This is like the story that it's almost one of the most recent ones I have, which is cool. And it's also the one I've been easily the most excited to talk to you about because it's so out of absolutely nowhere.
Here we go.
So, going back as far as probably 2010, one of our favorite bands collectively, me, you, Brev, Jeremiah, has been Anne Berlin, right? They're a rock band, alternative rock. They have all kinds of different kind of sounds that they have evolved through the years. But one of their best albums, probably my favorite of theirs, is it's called Vital. And it came out at the same time as Native by One Republic, and they're just both phenomenal albums. And I just remember that whole like period of time is defined by like Native, Vital, and like playing LAN Halo. Those are like, that's like what we did. It was sick. It was so cool. So Anne Berlin has been around in my life for 13 years, almost more than actually,
ages,
which is crazy to say. But I've never seen them in concert, and the closest I came, because when we first discovered them, we were in Uganda, so there's no shot. The closest I came to seeing them was in 2019. I actually had tickets for their 5-year reunion tour, which I was super excited about because they actually disbanded in 2014 after they put out their album Lowborn, and that was like the end of the thing. They had families, they were moving on. It was an amicable like breakup.
That was
they were
tough
moving on to
see.
different stuff.
That was tough.
It was tough, but like we had a whole backlog of music. You know, I still have been listening to them consistently all that time, even though there's been nothing new. But they had a 5-year reunion tour, and they did a couple shows, and one of them was in Seattle, and I had tickets. But then it turned out that I actually had one of the camps that I go to in the summer was that same week, and I couldn't. There wasn't really anything I could do. There's shows like in Portland before that date and after, and like Idaho, I couldn't make it to because of timing and different stuff when I was going to be back. So it was just like a bummer because I was like, oh, finally, I'll get to see them. And I bought the tickets straight away. And then I saw later that I was going to be gone that week anyway. So I missed it. So I came pretty close one time, didn't get to see them. So when I saw that they were putting out new music, I'm like, oh my gosh, I got to be on top of when they announce a new show and make sure that I can get to that concert. And sure enough, they announced that they're going to be touring with this band called Yellow Card. They're going to be one of the opening bands. Yellow Card is a band that I barely even heard of, but they have this enormous album, Ocean Avenue, which that's the title track, and it has a bunch of plays and everything. But they're kind of like a early mid-2000s band that had also disbanded in like 2016. So it's kind of a fitting sort of tour like tour along with these guys. Kind of think Relient K. I think they sound a lot like Relient K. Kind of, you know, a little bit angsty, kind of, but very early 2000s music. Good stuff. But I hadn't personally listened to them. But, you know, good on them for inviting Anne Berlin on their tour. I get to see it. Fantastic. So they're coming to Seattle. I get my tickets again. I'm like, I'm not missing it. And I've had my tickets now for, I don't know, probably 8 months. The show was in just at the beginning of August, I think. If I remember. Yeah, just like 3 weeks ago now. So I've had my tickets all year, basically. Like, I think I bought them in like January or December because I'm like, I'm going to this show, right?
Wow.
As it turns out, this week of the show is also the week where my parents and Tegan are taking a little trip down to California to visit some colleges, which is crazy that he's a senior in high school and he's going to be going to college next year. But he looked at like 5 or 6 schools. Actually, it was more than that, I think. Anyway, they did this whole college tour. So they're in California. And when they were in, I believe, San Diego, they stopped at a popular burger joint called In-N-Out, which is in like California, New Mexico, Arizona. Have you ever been to an In-N-Out before?
I've never been to an In-N-Out, but I have heard plenty about them. Yeah.
So it's kind of a restaurant where people are very like, I don't know, almost cult-like about it. Like, you like kind of love In-N-Out or you hate In-N-Out. And usually the reason you hate it is because you have a different like local chain that you're a fan of. Because like people in California and stuff will like swear by In-N-Out. They're like, it's the best like kind of budget like fast food in the area. It's like better than McDonald's, better than all this.
Yeah.
Which, you know, could be true, could not be. I think it's tasty. I don't think it's the best ever. All that to say, my parents are having lunch there with some friends, and they, I guess, are talking about a book written by John Mark Comer, who's like a theologian, pastor guy. And they're there visiting with some friends, and then maybe they're about to head out, and they start praying together, just, as you do. And somebody at the restaurant notices them praying, and a woman, and she comes over and says, "Hey, I overheard you praying. Can you pray for my daughter? She's like feeling really sick right now." And they're like, "Yeah, absolutely." So then they pray with her, which is super cool, cool interaction, right?
Yeah.
And then they start talking to her a little bit, and she's like, "Oh, yeah, we're my husband's in a band. He's actually touring right now. We're going around." And then they're like, "Oh, well, what band is it?" And she's like, "Oh, they're called Anne Boleyn."
Oh my
like,
God.
Really? Your husband's in Anne Boleyn? Well, what's his role in the band? Like our son loves that band. He's going to go see him like this week in Seattle. And she's like, "Oh yeah, he's the lead singer." And so then they send me a photo, and I'll pull it up. I'm going to find it right now. Hold on. Basically, they send me a photo of Stephen Christian, the lead singer of the band, in he's in his car, like getting food or handing food or whatever, but it's like through the car window. And so my mom calls me, or Tegan calls me, and is like, "Hey, check your messages right now." And so I see the photo, and they're like, "Do you recognize who that is?" And I'm like, "Is that Stephen Christian from Anne Boleyn?" And they're like, "Yes, we just saw him in San Diego." And I'm like, "Really? That's crazy." And then they tell me this whole story, and I'm like, "What the heck?" And so apparently they didn't really get to meet him because he was like rushing off to like a VIP meetup thing for people going to the show that night. But they gave his wife my email and my phone number, because she's like, "Oh, like he'd love to, say hi at the show." And I'm like, "What?" So then this is like probably 2 days before the show. They tell me this story.
Okay.
They're coming up from California. So then I'm like, "That's crazy." So there's like a small chance that I might get to meet him, or at least like contact with him a little bit. And they're like, "Yeah, we like gave him your info. So he said he, would love to say hi or whatever at the show." I'm like, I have no idea how that's going to work, because the venue we're seeing it is like a 8,000 person venue. It's like a real concert, right? There's security, all this different stuff. So I'm like, I have no idea how this is going to work. Couple days go by, I haven't heard from him. Fine, whatever. Didn't super expect to, but it was kind of on the back of my mind, right? So then about, I don't know, 10 a.m. Concert's at 7 p.m. or something. 10 a.m. I get an email. And he's like, "Hey, Jensen, my name's Stephen Christian from Anne Boleyn, and I'd love to have a chat and say hi to you. Before the show, your parents prayed with my wife in California." And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I have an email from Stephen Christian, the lead singer of a band that I've been listening to for like 13 and a half years.
I love how it was an email as well.
And it was an email.
Just sums it up.
And it was like his personal email, like his Gmail address. I was like, this is crazy. So then I'm like, "Dude, I'm a huge fan. Like, I would love to meet up." Yeah. So then we're like emailing back and forth, like throughout the day, basically, which is hilarious.
Oh my gosh.
And he's super nice, but it becomes kind of apparent to me that he doesn't really have a plan for how he's gonna say hello, right? Because I'm like,
yeah,
I don't want to.
Okay.
I don't want to be like, "So do I get like a free VIP upgrade, or like how does this work?" Because I don't know. I don't.
Yeah. You
feels
want to
weird.
be more normal with it. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. But he sends me like the itinerary for the day for like the tour. So I have like an email with the times that their tour bus leaves. Like it's like a detailed thing. So I'm like, before the show, or like during the fan meetup, would that be fine? He's like, "Yeah, that'd be cool. Like here's a schedule." And he just keeps asking me like what time I'm going to get to the venue. And I'm like, "I don't know. Like when are you free? Like I can make it work, but it just like he's
literally
got a lot.
anytime.
Literally anytime, yeah. So he's got a lot going on. He's got a tour that he's doing. Like he's doing a show tonight. So I'm trying not to be like a bother, but I don't. It's a little weird, right? Like I don't want to like ask for like, hey, put me on like your VIP list or whatever. Yeah. So it's going into it. I'm like, I still don't know. Like I've been talking to him. That's pretty crazy in the first place, but I have no idea how we're actually gonna like link up, at the show. So we go to the venue. It's a big stage. It's actually the same place where we saw John Billion when you were here, Wamu Theater. So the venue.
Oh, nice. Yeah,
so
great venue. Mm-hmm. Top tier venue. Yeah, really good.
Yep. I love the wide stage. It feels like everybody gets to be close.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's where we are. We get there a little bit early, maybe like 45 minutes before doors are supposed to open. And it's like right around the time where they're having their like VIP fan meetups and stuff. And so I go up and I'm like, hey, is there any chance? And he hasn't replied to my last email. And I'm like, totally understandable. Like it's right before the show at this point, but I still don't know. He hasn't given me any indication that he's going to like get me in somehow. It's just like, oh yeah, I'd love to say hi. I'm like, how do I even approach? How do I do this? This makes no sense.
Yeah. What are you meant to say?
Right. Like, so anyway, I'm going up to people. Like I talk to the VIP people. They're like, oh yeah, you have to have the pass. I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. All right. So then I go to like the will call station. I'm like, do you guys have like a list of names by the band? Like, is there any chance? She looks, my name's not on there. Okay. That makes sense. It didn't really seem like he had a plan of how to do it anyway. So I'm feeling a little down. I'm like, oh man, I feel like I just missed my opportunity. I know they like head out pretty quickly after the show. So I don't think there's like a after show time. And I don't think they're going to be at the merch table, like in between the sets or whatever. So I'm a little bummed, but whatever. We're in the venue, walking around. There's the merch table. There's nobody over there. So I'm like, okay, well, we'll go to the bathroom, figure this out. So I go to the bathroom, come out. My girlfriend B's there. She's like looking over. She's like, I see there's a crowd of people over there. Do you want to go see like what that's about? And I'm like, yeah, sure. Why not? So I walk over there.
Yeah.
And I start to recognize a few people, and it's Amber Lynn doing their VIP meetup just like in the corner of the venue over here, and they're just like standing there taking pictures with fans. And somebody comes over and is like, hey, it's time to like go backstage now. And they're like, okay, all right. So they're all walking backstage, and he's like right across the hallway from me. And I've been talking to him all day on email. So I'm like, hey, Steven, it's Jensen. He's like, oh, hey man, how's it going? And then I like have a little chat, walk with him for a couple of seconds, like as he's going backstage to his thing, And he's like, yeah, it was so cool.
Days.
Your family like prayed for my daughter and, my wife. And it was just so cool and yada, yada. And he was like the nicest dude, just like totally down to earth, super friendly. I'm like freaking out a little bit because it's like, this is somebody I've literally listened to for like hundreds of hours across over a decade now.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Absolutely crazy. So then this is like my favorite part. So then, I'm walking, he's got to, turn off to go to his little area back there or whatever. And he's like, oh, yeah, do you want to, like, snap a photo really quick? I'm like, yeah, please. So then he hands his phone. I'm, like, pulling out my phone. He hands his phone to B. And, like, she takes the photo with his phone. And then he as he's walking away, he'll be like, oh, yeah, I'll email it to you. And I'm just like, this is crazy. I now have an email from Steven Christian that he took pictures of me with him on his phone and then sent to me.
On his phone?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
And he sent it to me, like, straight away, too. Like, I'm waiting, like, in the crowd, and he's like, email me this photo. It's, oh, my gosh. It was so cool. So, anyway,
man,
I've been waiting to send you these photos. But,
awesome.
Yeah, that was just, like, the craziest thing.
No, thank you so much for telling me that story. That's absolutely incredible. That's the kind of thing. That's the kind of thing that dreams are made of. Let me see these. Oh my days!
Isn't that crazy?
That's so cool. That's so cool. Look at your face,
dude. I'm loving it.
You are gritting. Oh
dude,
my
I was
days.
So happy.
That is so good. That is so good. Look how cool he is. He's just so cool. He just doesn't even try.
Effortless.
And he's so cool.
Yep.
Oh man. That's incredible.
Yeah.
That surely now that must be like near all of your profile photos now. Like across the board. I've got to just everything. Even like LinkedIn. Just put it straight on there.
They're like, oh, this guy's friends with Steven Christian? Hell yeah. No, I didn't post it anywhere because I wanted to like get your authentic reaction and like have this be like something we record, because I just knew it was going to blow
it
your
would have
mind.
been like, I would have called, if you had changed it anyway, I definitely would have called you straight away. But like, Jens, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, the show was great. They crushed it. Unfortunately, they were like the second band of 4, so it was like a 30-minute set.
Okay.
But it was so cool, and they were like putting out new music now. So, fingers crossed that they like headline a tour maybe sometime soon. And my like dream is that they have their own tour, and like I can be like, hey, you're coming to Seattle. I have tickets again. Like, we'd love to say hi or something. Like now that I have his email, like. He seems like the type of guy who might remember me, especially.
Now, do you know what I mean? Like,
my family,
you guys
like, his
are the
wife,
boys.
dude. Yeah, we're homies. So
yeah. Like, yo, give me some space.
Oh man.
Oh my days.
So anyway,
it's just so cool when you get to do something like this that is such a part of like your musical journey, like as a man. Like I remember when we I think we commented or did something on one of NF's posts way back in the day. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Like that's kind of what that reminds me.
Oh yeah,
of.
definitely.
Just little things like that where it's just it's like so cool. And it just makes you feel like you're flipping 13 again. Like my head goes straight back there, and we're jamming the music 24/7. It's wow, that's what it's about. That is an amazing story. I feel like that's something you're going to be able to tell for ages as well.
Oh, yeah.
And actually on that note, I'm not looking to top it, but I think this is maybe an equally as crazy story about something that has just as much of a place in our hearts. So recently I got to go and see a Chelsea game. Me, my younger brother Silas, and my uncle Anthony, who he lives in London with his partner. Now, Chelsea. I mean, I've been a Chelsea fan for
Blues?
from day one. Really, my dad was a Chelsea fan. Come on, the Blues. Jens, I did rope you into this as well. Like I don't like.
Oh yeah.
And that was just something that we always connected on. Like always just checking in and whenever we played any sort of football related games, the Chelsea squad was. They were the boys. They were the boys. Them and obviously
Sounders.
the what was the Sounders. I did think it was the Sounders. And so look, like it had been a little bit up in the air with like following the team recently. They haven't been doing so well. So like me and Silas had taken a little bit of a step back. Like we were still involved, but not quite as much as we have been in the past.
Sure.
So we were chatting to my Uncle Anthony and my Auntie Rach. Now, my Auntie Rach is an incredible human being, okay? She's so focused, she gets things done, and she knows so many incredible contacts. So she's like, guys, I feel like I may have someone I can chat to get you guys some Chelsea tickets, okay? So we're like, look, we're ready. Whenever you are, see if you could sort something out, and we'll come straight to London. So that was the original plan. That never really happened, okay? There was this Chelsea game coming up, playing against Nottingham Forest, which is a city just outside of Derby where I live at the moment. So it was like, great, cool. Let's see if we can get anything to happen with that. If not, we'll still come to stay for the weekend. It'll be a lovely weekend. We'll go to the cinema, okay? We'll watch something. Great time. As it gets closer, there's no tickets available, right? Gutted, devastating. It's okay, right? Let's just go and still have a good time. So we drive there after work on the Friday. So we get there relatively late. I think we got there, I think I left work a little bit early to be able to get back. So we probably got there maybe around like 8, half 8. So like we sit down straight for dinner. We're having dinner. We're just having a great time. We're laughing. We're joking. And then we get onto the Chelsea tickets. Oh, what a shame, isn't it? Yeah, there's no way we can get any. And then I look over to my younger brother Silas, and he's like, well, actually, there is potentially something we can do. Because some people will resell the tickets that they've got if they can't go. Now, there's actually like a relatively verified page where you can do this. So like random people, but you can get tickets from it. Mm-hmm. So Silas starts scouring on there, So I'm chatting with my Uncle Anton and my Auntie Rach. We're just talking about like the logistics of it, if it could work. Silas is on his phone doing research, great stuff. He's able to find some tickets, 3 tickets to be precise. And she's like the person is sharing like proof of them that she's got them, like sending screenshots on her phone and everything, and then saying, look, pay for one, and I'll confirm that it's come through, and then I'll give you the other 2. Cool, that's fine. So we get the 3 tickets. We're buzzing, exciting. Yes, amazing. So then we print out all the tickets. We each have one on our phone, and then the next day, me, Silas, Uncle Am, we're ready to go. Hit the train, get straight there, we're buzzing. We get to the stadium, right? And it's glorious, right? You stand outside of it. The last time I went was for a stadium tour.
Yeah.
Ages and ages and ages ago with my dad. But this is a lot. That must have been like maybe about 15 years ago, maybe more. So it'd been a hot minute since I'd been here.
And have you ever seen a game there before?
No, I don't think I'd ever seen a Chelsea game before at Stamford Bridge. I had seen Chelsea play, but that was in an away game that we went somewhere. And I think that was a game, again, I went to watch with my dad.
Okay.
So, look, we're like, you know what? It's exciting. It should be good. We walk up to the first little step of security, right? And this is where it starts to get a little nervy, right? They're saying, look, can we just check bags? Yeah, tickets. We're showing up. Yeah, bro. And the guy kind of goes, oh. Like, I see his face do a not a very nice thing when he looks at our tickets. And so I'm like, what? And he's like, you know what? It's okay. Just chat to the people at the desk. They'll help you out. So then we get to the spot where you scan your tickets and you go through one of the turnstile things, right? So we scan the tickets and it says, like invalid or something. Try scan it again. It's not working. Someone comes over like, oh, well, you know, what's going on here, guys? And then he takes a 1/2 second look at the ticket and he's like, yeah, you guys have been sold fake tickets. Those are duds. There's no way you're getting in here today. And we're like, oh, this is devastating. And that's when my Uncle Ann really went into like charmer, just nice person mode, right? So he's like, look, these two boys, like they haven't seen a game here. This is their dream. They come all the way from Derby. Like, can you do anything? Those guys are like, look, there's nothing we can do. Go to the ticket office, see what happens. Okay, so I'm already, me and Silas, devastated, right?
Yeah.
Silas is near to tears. We're just not having a good time, right? But there's this little glimmer of hope. Go to the ticket office. Again, look, guys, we've been sold duds. We're so sorry. Can you do anything to help us out? They say, look, no, we don't have any spare tickets. We're so sorry. There's nothing else that we can do. So again, we're thinking, right, is there anything? Who else can we talk to? They say, well, then go to the hospitality team. And we're thinking, flip the bed. Okay, the hospitality, like there's 3 different levels. There's bronze, silver, gold, and then I think one more. But the bronze ones are like hundreds of pounds per person. I was like, there's no way we're going to be able to get these, okay? So we walk up and like this is where it gets serious, right? So you go through like a metal detector, like there's 10 people in suit security right outside the door. So we kind of talk to the head security lady out the front. She's lovely. We say, look, this is the situation. Who do we talk to? They say, look, just make your way inside. So we get in now, and this is when it's getting properly fancy. So this is on the way to like the proper levels of like the hospitality suites and everything. Really, really flash. So then we get to the front and there's like three ladies who are behind it who look like air hostesses, right? So professional, just very, very good at what they're doing. So we walk up and so Uncle Ant by this point has turned on maximum charm, right? He's in full flow. He's saying all the right things. It's sounding really good. Silas and I are just standing there in awe, but also just devastated because we don't have any tickets.
All right.
So he goes up and he's like, look, this is the situation. These two boys, this is their dream. They've never been able to do this. Can you help us out? And the lady says, let me make a call. Stand on the side there. So she goes away. She's making a call. And instantly I'm like, wait, she could just tell us to go. We have no right. We have no right to be here. We're just two like boys, basically, with our uncle
tickets,
trying to do the right thing. No way. She goes away to make the call. At this point, right, Silas and I just have our jaws on the floor. You've got footballers' wives and girlfriends walking in, footballers' dads walking in, and we're just like, I'm like, Silas, look at that. I was like, it's Reece James's dad. Like, it's Mason Mount's girlfriend. Like, there's so much going on. We're loving it. Our eyes are wide at this point. So kind of softening the blow a bit.
Yeah, got a little bit of something.
I'm constantly checking over to this lady who said that she was on the phone, right? So she gets off the phone, and I hold my breath. And then she gets back on the phone. I'm like, okay. So then she does that. She's on the phone again for a bit. She comes back over, right? And she's like, look, you three, come here. I'm like, okay, look, what's going on here? She's like, okay, look. So there are some spare hospitality tickets. I'm like, I'm thinking, look, great. Less great thing. Probably about £300-400 each, right? I'm not about to get my Uncle Ant to pay for that. No way. So then she says, look, I was just on the phone with the person who would like officially let these go to people, okay? Because we've got a few spares that aren't going to be used. It's like 3 minutes until kickoff right now.
Yep.
And she's like, look, she didn't pick up the phone fast enough, so I can't charge you for these guys, but here are 3 tickets to the bronze level hospitality.
Let's go.
Silas and I cannot believe it. I'm like, wait, so what do you mean? What does that mean? It's like, are we going? Do we get to go? And she's like, yeah, quick. Someone will lead you to your table where you'll be served food. You may not get time before the game, but then you'll be taken through to the seat and to the pitch.
Oh my
We're
gosh.
thinking, what? So we go through the door. And it was to the level. There's even someone there who their job, bless this guy, was to press the button for the elevator to open it so we could go up. That was right next to the stairs. I'm like, there's no way I'm taking the elevator right now. I can't. They just can't do it. They can't do that. No way.
It's too much time.
I'm like, I can't do this. I was like, we need to take the stairs. There's no way we're getting this lucky, and then we take the elevator. Silas at this point is in almost happy tears. Him and I can hardly even believe it. So we go up the stairs, like, to the thing, and they say, oh, yeah, this is your first time being here? And I laugh. I'm like, yes, we've never been here before. We have no idea what we're doing. I don't even know how we got these tickets. They lead us through to our own private table where they say, look, can we do a quick food order and drinks order? This will be ready for half-time when you get back.
That's so cool.
We're just so cool. We walk in, there's like brochures, not brochures, like just like a summary really of the day, some of the history of the past matches between the two clubs.
Dude.
Like, honestly, just incredible. And then so then we go watch the game, come back at halftime, there's food and drinks on the table. We're just laughing, taking photos, go back for the second half, come back, there's more drinks on the table, completely free of charge. It's incredible. And then the lady who was on the phone at the very start, she actually came to check on us halfway through and like, look, is everything okay? Have you guys been looked after? And we're like, this has been a dream come true. So then the game ends, we walk off, and we're just elated for the rest of the day, the rest of the weekend. We cannot believe it. And so somehow that is the way that me, my brother, and my uncle snuck into Stamford Bridge with nothing but a dream and some charm. And so what got even better, okay, so then at the end, obviously, we paid 3 tickets. I think it was £150 in total to this complete scam, right?
Yeah.
Complete scam. My auntie ended up calling her bank and saying, like, look, I've been scammed out of my socks. Can you help me out? She ends up getting the money back about a week later. So these tickets were completely free. And it was just a dream. It was so
scammers
cool.
lose.
I almost don't want to go back because nothing can replace that experience. But yeah, it was a beautiful time. I think the only thing that would have been better is if I could have been there with my dad. But apart from that, it was a perfect day. Wow. And that is something that I have wanted to tell you about. I imagine, did you see the post that I put up online?
I did.
Yes. Okay. I wanted to tell you the full story, though.
Oh, that's awesome.
Honestly, amazing. I tell you what,
so cool.
A fair bit has happened. I'm sure we could go on talking for ages, but
hours.
It's nice to feel up to date, gents. We've both had some crazy tales to tell, and I feel like that's just a good way to wrap up. I love it when you can catch up with a good mate after
the best.
Far too long. Do you know what I mean? Far too long.
Indeed.
But we'll have to do this again soon.
Yeah, hopefully very soon. Thank you all for listening in on our little catch-up situation here. You know what? I don't know. It's after times like these where there's almost no point to recording except that it's fun, right? Like, if no one listens to this at the end of the day, I'll listen to it again. We've had a great fantastic time. Yeah, I just love catching up, having a chat with my mate, and see what's going on.
I think the important thing is that actually this can show the power of this. You know, like if you did enjoy it, you watching or listening to this, do this with your mates. You know, if you think, I haven't caught up with that mate in ages, send them a text, give them a call, because things like this can be so beautiful. But they take a little bit of effort, but at the end of the day, it is 110% worth it. So if there's that mate that you've been thinking, I've really been meaning to give him a call, don't think about it, just do it, because you won't regret it. I have no doubt about it. But thank you for joining us on this little journey. The SpewnedIt Boys will be back at some point. But until then, God bless and peace. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you soon.